Hello and welcome to today's topic on the FDA, medical devices, and cybersecurity. My name is Michael Roberts. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing here at SBK and Associates. I'm joined here today by two of my colleagues who will introduce themselves. Ed, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Ed Chung. I'm Director of Engineering here. I've been here for 16 years, working primarily with consulting for medical device development R&D teams.
Good morning, Mike Solinap. I lead up our cloud infrastructure, DevOps, and cybersecurity teams. I've been here since 2007, been helping medical device companies for quite some time.
And she is very young, junior on the team, but also a big contributor.
I was going to say, I misspoke. I said two colleagues. We have three today. She is going to be the one directing the conversation here. So, guys, we're here today to talk about the new guidance that has come out from the White House. The new FDA regulations actually went into effect October 2nd of this year, require enhanced cybersecurity features for medical devices such as pacemakers and insulin pumps. And the regulations mandate that vendors must strengthen security features, find and mitigate vulnerabilities, and create a software bill of materials so that they have a post-sale vulnerability plan. So Ed, can you help me understand this main component that I just mentioned, the software bill of materials, and why is that important to cybersecurity?
Absolutely. This is a carryover from mechanical engineering, but also what happens is we make products, we make devices, and a lot of our products using software includes other software, right? Other open SSH and security things are often a component inside of a product. I think a very recent one that I can recall was Log4j, right? Log4j was a big vulnerability in a very common Java library that was included in many products, right? And then all of a sudden, all of these products had this vulnerability, and it was a surprise, right? And it's not necessarily someone's fault here, because my product uses this software, which uses this software, which uses this software, but we really need to start writing these down, recording them in a bill of materials, so that the children of my children software open source libraries are correctly being included inside of my vulnerability testing.
Yeah, if I can add on to that, when Log4j vulnerability was announced, what we see at a lot of our customers is just a flurry of emails. Is our product impacted? What products within our portfolio are affected? And it's not really clear, whether that component was included in their products or is a subcomponent. So I think having a bill of materials just very clearly laid out will lead to quicker answering of, okay, are we impacted? Is there any action that we need to take?
Exactly right. Exactly right. Thanks, guys. So the FDA has now, with this new guidance, the FDA has the authority to refuse medical devices not meeting cybersecurity guidelines, giving them a powerful tool to prevent vulnerable devices from reaching consumers. And while that gives them the power, maybe even more concerning is that existing devices may not be compliant as well and may have the same types of vulnerabilities. So, Mike, if you can elaborate on your experience when it comes to medical devices and cybersecurity.
Sure. So what we've seen, previously to the original guidance that was in 2014 was that there was a lot of resistance to regular patching because the effects and the impact of the patching towards the product are very risk averse, even though the patching would, in theory, improve the product stability, protect it from vulnerabilities. They were still very against making those regular changes in a tightly controlled environment, right? And so after 2014, the feeling was that, okay, now that this guidance has been put out there, it's great. We have a little bit more freedom to, apply regular patches to our products. And I think this recent guidance takes it even one step further, where manufacturers will be, it'll just become more of a normal thing. It'll be more normalized, as it has been outside of the med device industry. Regular patching is kind of old hat for a lot of companies, right? but for med device, it's very different. So I think this new guidance is really good. I think it will add to some additional lead time and longer times to market. But I think this will come on the front end. And what I mean by that is on the front end, there'll be increased testing. There'll be adoption of regular patching, and they'll have to change their processes to accommodate that, especially as on the post-market side going into hospitals and clinics and things of that nature in the customer environments. But I think that'll save long-term on the back end, because then we'll get ahead of vulnerabilities and like I mentioned, the firefight, so to speak, when a vulnerability comes out, right? We'll be better prepared for it overall.
Yeah, between having a software bill of materials and then doing consistent patching, it's not a big different process. Patching happens all the time on a regular basis, right? So it makes it easier to address.
That's right.
So these regulations create a pretty significant impact on medical device companies, potentially delaying market entry and causing financial losses for non-compliant or significant vulnerabilities. So Ed, how do you see this impacting how quickly products get to the marketplace?
My answer is a little twofold, because I think there's two categories. As Mike was just saying, many of our customers and other companies, I'm sure, have already included testing these things in their timeline, right? They're already doing it, or they budgeted time already to do it, and those people are they plan for it, right? They're not surprised. This is not a surprise thing. Everyone's been told in the industry this is coming. On the flip side, there are other companies who, for business reasons, have not made accommodations, and well, yesterday is the time to start planning, right? Like as a manager and most people, we don't want to be surprised by oops, we forgot testing, or I think the repercussions of something going out with an error are more scary to me. So please, now, put in that block in your timeline. Everyone is talking about it. Everyone should be talking about what did we do inside of our validation testing, or even better, backwards into the product development process, so that these things are easy to comply with, for not just for the compliance sake, but for the benefit of hospitals, patients, users, humanity.
Yeah, the goal of creating a better product, right? Like not just making it compliant, but actually creating a better product. So these changes align with the Biden administration's broader push for increased cybersecurity regulations, emphasizing manufacturers' responsibility for product cybersecurity. The FDA's move is part of a broader initiative to strengthen the security posture of the healthcare industry, especially in the face of increasing ransomware attacks and vulnerabilities in medical devices. So, Mike, what are the repercussions that businesses could face when they have that vulnerability and something that hits the market? And also, what have you seen to mitigate some of those risks to avoid those types of problems?
I mean, one of the biggest repercussions that we see is decreased customer satisfaction and confidence in their products, right? And that impacts new products being sold to that same customer. And so, some of the things that we do to help our customers, kind of get ahead of this. One topic that's really, I think, is a gap is integration testing. And what I mean by that is the customer may have a specific thing in their environment that's tying in to the med device product that hadn't been thought of or hadn't been considered originally, and that's causing an issue. So a lot of what we do is around best practices for things like hospital IT environments, architecture, network architecture around best practices for hospital environments, and things that the med device manufacturer may not have the most experience with, because they're strictly focused on working on the product and not kind of the iterations around it.
Right. And in terms of business outcomes, I mean, everybody wants a better product that's more secure and those type of things, but what are some of the metrics and items that you look at? You know, because we do this type of work. What are the things that you look at when we're helping a customer evaluate the cybersecurity of their product? Is there a couple key things that you look for?
Metrics.
Well,
Or areas, you know,
I'll leave the
doesn't have to be
technical
an
to you, but
exact
in terms
metric.
of management, right? We were talking about timeline a second ago, right? I think I have one customer who, how to say it? They thought they were going to beat a competitor to market, and then surprise, we need an extra 2 months for this thing, right? Or an extra, couple of dollars for solving this thing. I would say the most important metric to me is always missed my product launch timeline, right? Is that a metric? A yes, no? Is that a metric? I don't know, but
That's
it's
one of the more important ones. That's the one the business is most concerned about. So yeah, for sure. Well, there's a lot to unpack here, but thank you guys for your time today. I appreciate you guys joining us, and hopefully you'll join us next time when we do these types of discussions. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Speaking up. Good girl.